how do we measure the temperature between the two objects, right? Measure the temperature, measure the temperature, right? The, the thermometer is the thermometer, right? To measure the temperature in object. And of course, for this thermometer, there are different temperature scales. And before we go into the different temperature scales of our thermometer, we can now say first, you understand that heat is a form of energy, right? Heat is now a form of energy. And since it is a form of energy, means it can actually do some work. And you can notice that, of course, at this point A, the heat at this stage could be taken to be heat, right? The heat was not flowing because there was no contact. Immediately we'll bring the red hot object A closer to the cold object B, then it begins to flow. It then gain some kinetic energy. That is the flow from the red hot to the B, which is definitely cold, to obtain an equilibrium temperature of 45 degrees Celsius, and then they stop flowing. So in this case, it's a form of energy, right? And talked about the zeroth law, which is a law that can be understood, right, as the reason why energy should flow from one object A to another object B. Talking about the temperature, and now is what will be the definition of the temperature? Well, I can now say that the temperature definition, which is obtained from zeroth law, that the temperature, right, help us to understand when it will flow or not. For instance, if the temperature, this case A and B, if I measure the temperature, this case A and B, and the temperature is the same, of course I know that the energy will not flow. But in this case, if I measure the temperature between A and B, and the temperature of course are different, this is 70 and this is 20 degrees, of course energy flow. So I can break this down into a more simpler definition by saying that temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. And break this down by saying that temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. As we all know that now, if I measure the temperature of this, it is hot. And if I measure the temperature of this, it's cold. So it is a degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Now, of course, I have the thermometer. And the thermometer is the instrument which we use to obtain the temperature of an object. Thermometer is an instrument to obtain the temperature of an object. And there are different thermometric scales, temperature scales. We have the Celsius scale, we have the Fahrenheit scale, we have the Kelvin scale, Now these are the three common scales. And of course, there are also different types of thermometer. When you talk about the thermometer, there are different types of thermometer that we have. We look at that, right, in the next video. But in this case, we are looking at the different thermometer scale. And we have the Celsius, we have the Fahrenheit scale, and then we have the Kelvin scale. So these three scales are the most common scale of our thermometer, which is still definitely in. We can convert from one scale to another scale. For instance, I can convert from Celsius scale to Fahrenheit scale, or from Fahrenheit scale to Celsius scale, or I can equally convert from Celsius to Kelvin or from Kelvin to Celsius. I can convert from Kelvin to Fahrenheit or from Fahrenheit to Kelvin. It depends on what I want to convert here. There's a formula that tends to relate all these scales, that tend to relate all the scales to each other. The same way you can convert centimeter to meter or meter to millimeter. This is just the same as all these scales. Of course, we can have a thermometer in which the scales are graduated Celsius, and that will be the Celsius scale. We can have a thermometer in which the scales are graduated in degree Fahrenheit, and we can have a temperature in which the scales are graduated Kelvin. So we can definitely say we can convert the degree Celsius to degree Fahrenheit, and we can convert Kelvin to Celsius, and many more. So in all of those cases, the values obtained are definitely not going to be the same, because of course if you have 100 centimeter, if I have 100 centimeter equivalent to 1 meter, you can see that all the readings are not the same. And that is also the case of converting from one temperature scale to another temperature scale.